Hello. How's my chat? Live chat. There we go. Um, Sorry it's taken me so long to get on the live stream. I've been trying for days. How's the lighting? How's the hair? How's my shirt? Man, it's like I thought I was symmetrical with the F. And then I don't know which side is which side. Give me a break. Okay, it's just ridiculous. It's always something. Anna Bees, help! If you're able to. Oh my goodness. Okay, I got to get focused because there's so much to talk about. I apologize for my wax on my braces. It's really hard for me to talk without the wax on the braces because it like cuts up the inside of your mouth as you're talking. Man, I swear I'm gonna give up. Anna Bees, help me! I'm gonna cry. This stupid shirt. Which side is which? And then the braces, and then the lighting, and then I've got like a loud person in the house who's banging around, and I asked her not to, and so now she's all moody. You look marvelous. You're the best, girl. I've got so much insane crap to share. I don't even know where to begin, and I kind of feel like my mic should be a little bit higher, but I don't know. Yeah, I think I can do it. I got it. Just a smidge higher. Because the sound is what's most important, right? Is that good? And the lights. Okay, I think we're good. Good to go. Sorry about all that. No, it still feels like it's not quite high enough. How can I make it higher without screwing stuff up? There is so much insane crap going on. Anna Bees, it's by design. So there's a new word that I learned, and you're going to love this. It's called being an accidentalist. So it's in response to people being called conspiracy theorists. Then there's the accidentalists. So they just believe that everything's by accident, like the airplane crash in North Carolina with the NASCAR driver on it. I thought it was bad enough that it was NASCAR. I thought it was bad enough that it was in North Carolina, and then Bigley Pigley did one of his stupid convention things in North Carolina the very next day after those 7 people died in that airplane crash. But then it turns out that the guy, and I don't think I wrote down his name, the NASCAR driver who owned the airplane, it turns out that he had funded a whole bunch of hurricane rescue. So making FEMA look bad, right? And also he was on his way to a fundraiser when the plane crashed. And obviously there was something insanely wrong with the plane because it had just taken off, and then they turned around and they crashed as they landed 10 minutes after takeoff. And if you saw the fire of that plane, like that's so not normal. There's so much insane crap going on. I'm just gonna have to see if my highlighter will work today. Oh, look, it's gonna work. Yay. So that's the thing with the NASCAR. The thing with Rob Reiner, I'm trying to back off of that one actually, because it's such a sensitive issue for the family, and sure, maybe the brother flipped out and did this to his parents. But Anna Bees, play a game with me, please. Guess who says that her and her husband had plans to meet with the freaking Reiners on the day that they were found not alive in their house? Guess who publicly stated that they had plans to get together that day? It was a week ago tomorrow. Was that like the 14th of December? And I guess, was the 14th the first day of Hanukkah, or was the 13th the first day of Hanukkah? Okay, you're not guessing. I don't know if you're unable. Oh, I know, but, but I already forgot. Michelle Obama and her husband had plans to hang out with Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer. I know her name now. Is that insane? So not only did Rob Reiner have all of that body of work that he'd been studying intensely for 7 years of the Russia and the Putin and Trumpster fire Bigley Pigley connection, the Daddy Vladdy and the Bigley Pigley. You know, he spearheaded that committee in 2017. So it was for the sole purpose of investigating the connection between Daddy Vladdy and the election of 2016. Oh, you did you hear about it? Did you hear about Obama, Michelle Obama making that statement? Um, and then he was currently working on a freaking docu-series about it. And, you know, this is so much bigger than the Bigley Pigley. I mean, it's not all about him as much as he wishes that it was. It's really about Daddy Vladdy. It's really about all the billionaires that are backing him. It's really about the oligarchs that want to sanitize the population, I guess would be one way to put it. They want to wipe out the population. Rob Reiner was so intelligent and talented, wasn't he? So I watched a really long video of that surprise witness, and I like her channel a lot. I think she's really smart and she's funny, she's cute, but I don't watch her that often. And she did a 4 hour and 44-minute video about Rob Reiner that I stayed up really late watching last night. And I was curious what her opinion was. And she didn't know Rob Reiner at all. She didn't know, she's only 35 years old, so she didn't know All in the Family. She'd never seen Spinal Tap. I don't think, had seen any Rob Reiner movies. So it was interesting to hear her perspective, and I'll put a link to her video in the description. But, you know, she was expressing a lot of doubt about Nick Reiner doing it. And I don't know that there's very many other channels expressing doubt that he did it. And one of the things that I thought of since my last video is that, you know, the whole thing with him being like Jacob's Ladder or MK Ultra or basically brainwashed. The other thing is, if he did relapse, it could have been a cartel hit. But I think that Bigley Pigley's behind it. I do. Michelle was being interviewed by someone, God, my brain doesn't work, and she said that they were going to meet up with them. I know, it's part of why your brain might not be working is because Bigley Pigley has been sucking the life out of all of us. I mean, I'm being totally serious. Like, sometimes I literally wish that the American population, I guess you could say the world population, could file a lawsuit against Bigley Pigley for punitive damages for all the crap that he's done. I think that that would be a valid lawsuit, but you know, that man has filed over 4,000 lawsuits in his lifetime. Duh. Effing loser. So, when they released all that Epstein stuff yesterday, I'm surprised they released any of it, but they made some really big mistakes. First of all, in not following the law to the letter of the law. That man is going down like 4 flat tires, but in slow motion because he refuses to suffer the consequences of his actions like an adult. You know, you're gonna have to punish him like he's a 2-year-old. You mean all the black pieces of paper? Yeah, I do mean all the black pieces of paper, but Anna B's, there were photographs in Epstein's house of photographs of Trump with like a 13 or 14-year-old girl. So the images are in the files that were released. I think there's at least 2 of them that I heard about. And I think I wrote down the name of the person who took screenshots of them. And then I spilled stuff on my notes. So yeah, here's my notes. Her name is Ellie Leonard. Ellie Leonard was on Zev Remembers with Zev Shalev, sorry, Zev Shalev. And she was saying that she took screenshots of the images and she was able to zoom in and get really good resolution. So she has the images, so they're out there. I'm sure other people have them too, but then the DOJ went in and deleted those images because, you know, you can do that if it's like a Dropbox kind of thing. So there's that. So they've already let the cat out of the bag. And yeah, they illegally redacted things. You know, I always say this, but I need to remind myself and, you know, to any viewers that need to be reminded or that are new to my channel and don't know, the largest piece of evidence in any investigation is timing. The largest piece of evidence is timing. So thinking about that with Rob Reiner's unaliving, it seems so crazy if his son did it. It's almost like there's too much evidence. There's too much evidence that it's suspicious. Like, how did he get to the hotel room to then have all the red stuff end up in the hotel room? Like, he was in his own home, so he would have been able to clean up enough before leaving the house, you would think. But yeah, one of the things that that channel, the Surprise Witness, talked about a lot that I think she's probably right is that Nick was probably under a conservatorship, and that Surprise Witness is a trained attorney, so she knows a lot about conservatorships, and she's also studied them with like Britney Spears and I don't know, I wanted to say Paris Hilton, but she might not have had a conservatorship. But she was sent to like a rehab kind of prison place, like what Nick was sent to. And that Surprise Witness watched the entire movie on YouTube that I guess we can all watch. It's called My Name is Charlie or something like that. But I just thought she had a very interesting opinion of everything, especially since she didn't know Rob Reiner from Adam, and she didn't know any of his work, and she really didn't know any of the people that spoke out for him either, like Billy Crystal or Al Franken. I think these were all like brand new characters to her. Even Conan O'Brien. Yes, they deleted a whole page. Well, at least one, and all the unalivings that surround the Biggly Piggly. A lot of airplane crashes, a lot of assassinations. Like, people just don't get assassinated that much in our country. That happens in Daddy Vladdy's country. But, you know, in the attempted, I mean, the whole thing with Charlie Kirk is so ridiculous. So, Erica Kirk is disgusting. And the way she presents herself to the public, everything about her demeanor and how she speaks, and I mean, I'm sure I don't need to explain to you, but for other people that might watch the video, she's she's definitely part of it. She's definitely part of it. She's most likely an asset. A lot more information, especially with Levry members and Zev Shlev. There's a lot more information coming out about um, the spies that were part of the transporting. So, you know, the honeypots that would be sent over from Ukraine and Russia. Um, and all the people falling down the stairs. Thank you. Yeah. And illnesses. Right. Yeah. A lot of illnesses can be induced with chemical weapons. But yeah, the falling down the stairs, you know, there were so many people from Daddy Vladdy's country that were in our country that were working with Biggly Piggly during the 2016 election that passed away, right? Like one of them passed away on election day, and then they were just dropping like flies. I want to say there was like 15, 20, 25, 30. I mean, I'm not even kidding. I've done videos on it, and there's other people that have done videos on it too. And passing from a handshake, yeah. Well, you could if there was anthrax or ricin or, you know, the Spock move. No, I'm just kidding about the Spock move, but the fentanyl. So, you know, one of the things about him freaking out about fentanyl and trying to use that as an excuse for this like near war that we're in with Venezuela is that, as you know, Anna Bees, because you're a nurse, fentanyl is a very important medicine for hospitals and patients. I mean, it's a really good painkiller. My mom wore a fentanyl patch the last few years of her life. And if he's trying to blame everything on fentanyl and take fentanyl out of the picture, then what are people going to use? But again, they don't care about the people, obviously. That's why they have RFK Jr. in there. Anna Bees, guess who was the personal assistant for Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer for years? I'm going to give you a minute to guess, and I'm going to look it up on my phone how many years. Guess who their personal assistant was that is related to one of the names that I just said. Here, I'll just say it in my phone and then you'll know. Cheryl Hines. It's not going to work, is it? Cheryl Hines. It's just been really on the blink lately. So if you don't know the name, Cheryl Hines is the wife of RFK Jr. So Cheryl Hines, personal assistant. For the Reiners. Long term, but let me see how long if it pulls up on the internet. Maybe they've scrubbed it already. AI says yes. Actress Cheryl Hines was indeed Rob Reiner's personal assistant early in her career, a job she got while bartending in LA before her acting success on Curb Your Enthusiasm, and recently paid tribute to him and his wife Michelle following their tragic passing. Let's see. Oh my God. So they first try to act like, oh yeah, she was the personal assistant early in her career. She was the personal assistant late in her career too. You read on and on and on, and then it says she worked for them for over 30 years and maintained a deep bond, which she recently expressed in heartfelt tributes following their passing. 30 effing years. RFK Jr.'s wife was their assistant. Oh, that's funny you said RFK's daughter, because yeah, I just had RFK and you knew that because you are smart. You're sharp. But yeah, it's just too much information. I mean, I'm so distracted by all of the distractions that like I get, hyper focused on like Charlie Kirk case, and then I get distracted by Rob Reiner's case, and then I'm like, what was the other case that I was focused on? Oh, right. But yeah, I'm just thinking that they have way too much evidence and that the case is way too, they're trying to make it look so cut and dry. And that attorney, Al, what's his name? Allen, David Allen, the attorney that is covering the case, the defense attorney. I know I wrote it down here. Yeah, I know, and it's late. It's hard for me to focus. I'm sundowning, right? Nick's attorney, Alan Jackson. Alan Jackson is the guy's name. So he was the attorney for Karen Reed, and he basically alluded to the possibility that this is a setup. I believe, by the way he expressed that it's a very layered case. That older black man, Darren, whatever, is hard to listen to. His voice is too soft and mumbly. That one that you were telling me about. I still haven't had a chance to check him out, but I will. So one of the reasons why I was late coming on live is that I have this delicious smoothie right here, and right as I was about to come on, it spilled all over me and all over the chair. And normally I would like change my clothes and like scrub down the furniture, but I just kind of like wiped it up and tried to press forward. Or maybe I'm just deaf. No, I'm sure it's not you, darling. You can understand me with all this crap in my mouth. So let me try to run down some of these notes because, like I said, I feel like I'm kind of out of it. So guess Anna B's. The freaking another distraction. The 3 ridiculous, stupid engagement announcements from MAGA. You got Don Jr., you got Laura Loomer. Who's the other one? Freaking ridiculous. Don Jr. is engaged to Bettina Anderson. Bettina Anderson's father, Leroy Anderson, tight with Epstein for a very long time. Not only super tight with him, but was a banker that did a lot of the money laundering. Leroy Anderson, but they didn't say his name Leroy. It was like said kind of differently, like Leroy or something like that. Bank executive, vouched for little E, funded the transporting, and hung out at a lot of the Bigly Piggly parties. And his daughter is Bettina Anderson, the one engaged to Don Jr. So yeah, they better try to keep her close, right? I mean, once you're in with their dirty crimes, there's no way out. There's the grave. That's pretty much your only way out. So that's another connection. Isn't that so effing crazy? Stuck in an ad, but I'm back. Oh, I'm so sorry, my dear. They don't let you skip them? That is so frustrating. I know. I've thought about just like unmonetizing my channel since they hardly pay me anyway. And that's ridiculous. I'm so sorry. Um, let's see. So we all know by now about Marla Maples telling a 14-year-old's mother at a Mar-a-Lago party to make sure that her daughter was not left alone with any of the men, especially her own husband. And Susie Wiles, that was another distraction, I think, the timing of that freaking expose, but maybe that wasn't intentionally a distraction. Maybe that was just the timing of when they rolled it out. Susie Wiles says that Biggly Piggly was just being a single playboy when he hung out with Little E. Problem with that opinion, Susie Wiles, you effing freak, said he wasn't even single. And even if he was single, no, underage, that's SA. But he wasn't even single. Like, she's such an idiot. Oh, she literally said he was just being a single playboy. No, he wasn't. He was being a lying, cheating criminal. Mm-hmm. Okay. And what else do I have on this page? I think that's it. Yeah, that's all from that page. Here's the page with the milkshake on it, or the smoothie. You can kind of see it's all crinkled up. It didn't smear that bad, at least. I think I can still read most of it, if not all of it. So you hadn't heard that. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I should probably like turn off the freaking ads. That's stupid. Um, I loved KKK Caroline's close up in Vanity Fair was tremendous. Wasn't that fantastic? Because yeah, it shows like the lip injection holes and just the lengths that these people are willing to go to for dear leader. You know, it's such a cult. The whole thing with what they call the MAGA makeover. It's so freaking crazy. And yeah, you got to have the big lips. I mean, Kimberly Guilfoyle is your perfect like poster child for the MAGA makeover. She was drop dead gorgeous before she like destroyed herself with 10,000 plastic surgeries. And still, people aren't talking about her having been married to Gavin Newsom for 5 years before she was engaged to Don Jr. for 6 years. And allegedly, she had an affair with Don Jr.'s father while she was married to him. Allegedly. But again, to be a female and to be anywhere in Biggly Piggly's orbit, he's gonna make the moves on you. He's just that way. I mean, it's so gross. Okay. So when Biggly Piggly did his ridiculous address the nation the other night during interrupting the season finale to the Survivor, that's effing crazy. Like, it's like he's trying to steal the thunder of the season finale. He's trying to like dip into their good ratings, and he failed. Patricia Moss, hello, my dear. I hate that she was married to Gavin Newsom. I know Gavin Newsom is kind of a slime. Like, there's a lot of weird crap about him. I wish he wasn't so dubious. Um, said, "Oh, hi, Jazzy, I got your package. Yay! Took video opening it. Been meaning to email you. Send video with it. Also, I really do want to become a member. I'm having Google problems. Oh, you are so sweet. I'm so glad you got it. Yeah, I kind of took my time getting it together because, you had won that little chicken coop. You got like half a dozen chicken coops, right, Annabees? And now Patricia has like the other half dozen. Um, so when you won the one after you had already won the four, I didn't want to just send you one, and I might have put two in there. I can't even remember. I think it was just the one because I think I was down to my last two and I wanted to keep one. But I thought I'll just put all these other cool little fairy things in there. So I'm so glad you got it. I'm so glad you like it. And yeah, I was really looking forward to you getting it and finding out that you got it. So that's totally awesome. Yes, Annabee's got them too. Yeah, and I think I put some stickers in Patricia's little care package. There was a little package and I put probably a dozen things in there, but they were all like miniature things. It was the cutest ever. Ah, that is way cool. Well, I appreciate your support, you guys, both of you. I mean, it's such a cool thing to have this outlet. I love it. And it wouldn't be the same without you. So let me see what else I have in my notes. But yeah, I don't think I had a chance to ask you how you're doing, Annabees. So both of you, how are you doing? I've been getting my house ready for Christmas, like hours and hours each day, like cleaning, organizing, decorating. It's coming together really well. It's coming together really well. Like I've been like doing crazy crap, like redoing window treatments. I mean, that's really involved. Like I spent hours last night at this going to like a handful of different stores just looking for some window privacy film because I was doing something, a treatment to one of the windows, and I ran out. So I needed just a little bit more. And I had to go to like half a dozen stores. It took me hours. And I'm just like, oh, projects are so hard, especially when you run out of your materials and you can't find them. I'm fine. I haven't decorated. I might put up the tree tomorrow. Well, I got lucky because my kids went and bought the tree without me, without their dad last week. And then they started decorating the tree. I did a tiny bit of decorating on the tree, but I got a bunch of lights set up on the house today. Um, like I said, lots of stuff, just like, kind of the deep cleaning. I've been cleaning windows. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of window cleaning. I haven't gotten all of them, but also cleaning the mirrors, like bathroom mirror, you have to clean all the time. But like there's a mirror that we have by the front door. So when you're leaving the house, you can look in the mirror and make sure your underpants aren't showing or something. And that mirror was so filmy and I didn't even realize it. So it's like, as I was cleaning it with Windex, it didn't even make the paper towel dirty, but it was such a difference. It was wild. I've never had an experience like that, just like realizing how filmy something was when it wasn't filthy and not like changing the color of the paper towel. Um, let's see. Hey, bees, May I call you bees sometime for short? That's cute. I love it. Yes, you can, Patricia. Um, I don't do Christmas nor Thanksgiving. Let's just say PTSD. Oh man, and all the people with the PTSD of the SMEX abuse, and then having that churned up every time all this crap is in the news. and like the Epstein files. So there's a glorious story. I don't know if you guys have heard about Annie Farmer yet. She's so dear to my heart, and I'll put a link in the description to a video, an interview with her. I think I saw her on MS Now, and she was very emotional, like she was crying because yesterday when they released the files, and of course it was like expected disappointments all day long, and then someone she knows, I think, because, it's what, hundreds of thousands of pages. I don't know how much they released, but it's way too much for one person to review. Someone contacted her and let her know that the police report that Maria Farmer had made in 1996 was released in the files, and they'd never seen it. And for them to get a hold of that police report from 1996, the very first time in New York that Maria filed a complaint with the police department, and then they acted like they didn't get it. They acted like they lost it, and there it was in the freaking file. So for both of them, for Annie and Maria, that was very validating. And then to find out that at the time that Maria was 25, working for little E, and her little sister was 15 and becoming another victim, that they also had a littler sister at the time that was 12. So he was probably just, trying to play his cards really carefully and get to all of the younger siblings. So they felt very validated that they could see the police report, because there's been people even with them that haven't believed them. So very painful. Yeah, I'm sorry, Patricia. I'm sorry too about holidays being triggering. So yeah, I feel like the whole nation is just being terrorized by Biggly Piggly. And especially the Democrats in California and Hollywood and people that were at Conan's party, because the fact that they were at a comedian, a very famous comedian's house the night before it happened, I think that's also significant. I think that's more terrorizing of the comedians and of that whole Hollywood crowd. Got that as well. I had to bail out for a couple of weeks. I listened to no YouTube for quite a while, so bad I couldn't even listen to you reading the book. That's crazy, because you know how much I love to hear you read. Oh, you are so sweet. And I am so glad we read that book together. I'm so glad, because so much of everything, like that's like the foundation, all that information in there. It's like the foundation for all the crap that's blowing up right now. But yeah, I think that's good though that you took a break. I mean, I've been doing a lot of other stuff that, normally I'm pretty hyper focused on consuming my information and making my videos every day. And just, normally I wouldn't care so much about trying to pull the house together for Christmas. So I just feel a lot of pressure to be a good mom. So with just one kid home and 3 kids that don't live at home, and everyone's going to be converging at our place. And it's a lot of pressure. So, I've been like deep cleaning the bathrooms and stuff like that. Such an absolute bummer about Gavin being shady. Ugh. I know, because he, I mean, he's pretty diabolical. He seems like he's great, but then the more you learn about him, it's like there's something wrong. I mean, just, I guess, knowing that he was married to somebody for 5 years that would then be engaged to Don Jr. for 6 years. I mean, that kind of is evidence right there. But yeah, he just seems like a snake oil salesman. Very unfortunate. And maybe he can do better, right? I mean, try to give that opportunity for everyone, even Bigly Piggly, but we know he doesn't have it in him. Oh, and then the guy who unalived the people at Brown University was the same guy who unalived the MIT professor. Oh, and then he just happens to not be alive himself. How convenient. I don't freaking buy that whole story. He went to Brown University for 1 year, 25 years ago. And then he has to go blow the place up, shoot the place up. And then the MIT professor, he knows from college, like some other college that they went to together. I don't think it was Brown. Um, but again, from a long, long time ago. So then he has to like go from Providence, or I think Brown, I know it's in Rhode Island. I don't know if it's in Providence, but he has to go from Rhode Island to Boston. And then he ends up not only unaliving self allegedly in New Hampshire, where like my sister lived in New Hampshire for years. She said there's no one around for miles and miles and miles, and there's especially no police around anywhere. This bugging me. Dang. See what happens when I don't wear all black? I should just stick with the all black. Every time I don't wear all black, I regret it. So do you guys know where he was found in New Hampshire? He was found in a freaking storage unit, in a storage thing, a storage company. No one's going to go to a effing storage unit to off themselves. Are you kidding me? But that is where thugs take people out, I think. No one's going to off themselves in a freaking storage unit. I mean, people hide bodies in storage units. I've heard of that. Yeah, I like calling him Piggly Biggly because of the Piggly Wiggly. Oh, that's cute. I hadn't even thought about Piggly Wiggly. Piggly Wiggly, I mean, Piggly Biggly works too. I really like Biggly Piggly, and I'm hoping that I can get a patent on it and then it can go viral and then I can get all the proceeds. Of course, I'm kidding. Floyd. Oh, is that the name of the town where Brown University is? Or is that Pink's last name? But yeah, and Brown University being such a top-notch university and MIT being such a top-notch educational institution, and that professor and his specialities, I like to say specialities instead of specialties, specializations, his specialities in like nuclear research and like plasma research. I can only imagine the work that he was doing and the work that Biggly Piggly was trying to prevent him from doing. And the thing with the NASCAR people being in that airplane crash is that NASCAR is like it's like the wrestling stuff. Like, what do they call it now? Instead of the World Wrestling Federation, it's like the Mixed Martial Arts, MMA. Those two things are huge for Trump. I mean, Biggly Piggly. So it's just weird that it happens to be NASCAR people going down in the airplane. But then to find out about the fundraising for, what was it, for the hurricane relief, and I think it was in Tennessee. In case you notice, I have a Band-Aid on my finger. I cut my finger with all my housework and deep cleaning. I mean, I've been doing some dangerous stuff, man. It's ridiculous. So what else do I have in my notes here? Oh, so I started to say this. I didn't say the whole thing. The release of the files yesterday, then Todd Blanche, who's like been the one assigned to be the spokesperson because Pam Bondi's about to get impeached. I mean, seriously. And especially with this, but she was already right there. But he said that they can't release all of them yesterday because so much redacting and everything. They were still working on it, and that it's going to be in the next couple of weeks. And it's just like, OMG, are you kidding me? Biggly Piggly and his next couple of weeks again. We've been hearing that for 10 years with the freaking healthcare plan, right? So I was mentioning in my last video about an attorney that worked in the same position as Alex Acosta, but it was after Alex Acosta vacated the position. I think it's the West Palm Beach prosecuting attorney, I think is the title. David Ehrenberg, but he was the one on Lev Remembers who I thought said a lot of really stupid things about how Alex Acosta hadn't broken any laws except for that one little one of, violating the survivors' rights by not consulting with them about the case, keeping them in the loop, just that one pesky little one. And there was some other stupid stuff that he said too, but Dave Ehrenberg. But it's like, of course, he's not going to be honest and talk about what a hack Alex Acosta was, because Alex Acosta is in a very high position of power still. And it's just unprofessional to critique a peer like that. But when that peer belongs in jail, maybe you should critique them. So he's a state senator now, so of course he's going to be very, very careful. He's a member of the Democratic Party. So he served as the state attorney of Palm Beach County from 2013 to 2025, and previously served in the Florida Senate from 2002 to 2010, and as Florida Attorney General drug czar in 2012. He went to Harvard. And what does he do now? Let's see what he does now. Now he's the state attorney for the 15th Judicial Circuit Court of Florida. He's been doing that for the last 12 years. So, yeah, being in a top position like that, he can't be criticizing Alex Acosta. But what I thought was so weird when he was being interviewed by Lev, because Lev is usually really straight to the chase, he was agreeing with him on all this stuff. But then I thought, well, that's a good way to keep your guest comfortable, is to not argue with them or confront them about their preposterous crap. I know there's some kind of cash flow caught to him trying to declare that law. I heard Biggly Piggly is making Mary Jane a class 3 controlled medication, so that's one good thing he's supposedly doing. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not that versed in any of that. That was my rug of choice when I had a huge problem in my teens and early 20s. So I kind of stay out of the loop on all of it. But yeah, I heard about it, and it sounded to me like it was, almost like labeling it like a narcotic, which I think it should be, rather than, how people say, "Oh, it's just an herb." It's like, no, it can really F you up. Um, and so, yeah, I think that that's what that does, right? Is it basically upgrades the, recognition of that it can be harmful, because so many people try to pretend it's not harmful, and it's, like, ridiculous. So and then what you said, Patricia Moss, I know there's some kind of cash flow caught to him trying to declare that law. And of course, I mean, yeah, you would think that the Heritage Foundation people would not want cannabis to be legal. It wouldn't fit with their whole, like, white nationalist church crap. But I do agree with keeping it tighter. I mean, if I was young right now, with the way vaping is so readily available, and cannabis, there would have been no hope for me to ever get clean and sober, I don't think. Seriously. Gummy candies with THC, cooking oil with THC, candy bars with THC, and all kinds of other stuff. Yeah, definitely harmful. Yeah. So, yeah, my heart breaks for young people that are up against that. I can't imagine. Um, oh, the other engagement, I did write it down. The other engagement to distract Marjorie Taylor Greene and her disgusting, creepy, pretend journalist boyfriend, Brian Glenn, the one who attacked um, Zelensky for dressing down coming to the White House. When, like, that uniform of basically like wearing what you would wear when you're fighting a war, that's the uniform Zelensky is sworn to wear until the war is over. And man, have they been kicking butt with the freaking war. Vaping is causing all kinds of respiratory problems, especially in the youth. And it's so sad. I mean, who the F knows the long term effects if you're doing that? Even if you only do it for a few years when you're young, how your brain and body how it's gonna contribute to your brain and body falling apart as you age is really frightening. Really frightening. I'm so glad that vaping was not a thing when I was young. I would have been probably a lost cause. Um, so this is wild. Was it that surprise witness who said it? And I was just like, holy crap. I think it was her. I just don't want to take credit for it because I would have never thought of it. She said about, and she wasn't even talking about Erica Kirk. She was talking about Megyn Kelly, who is also one of the most disgusting people on the planet. She was talking about Megyn Kelly's hair extensions, and how, I think what she was saying, at least where my mind went, was that it's almost like the modern form of scalping people. Because, wealthy folks get real hair for their extensions. And Erica Kirk, her mane is all kinds of extensions. She's always got that big, whatever you call those things, like, from like the 60s. that look really cool, but, lots of hair, like the big poof on the top. I know you can, like, put something under your hair to make it do that, but, both of them have ridiculously long blonde hair, but to think of it as a new modern age scalping, um, can we sue Merrick Garland for not prosecuting Piggly Bigley for pain and suffering? Yeah, that's a really good idea. That's a super good idea. Um, so you know how Biggly Piggly would say, with me in charge, you're not going to get hit, you're not going to get raped because I'm going to protect everybody. It's like, no, it's because you're the one doing all the hitting, like the hits, not like battery, but the other types of hits, and doing all the grapes. So yeah, you're the one that decides who's going to be a victim. So it just is crazy to me how he would use that as one of his sales pitches. You won't get hit. Like, that's not even how people talk, because most people are regular people and they're not thinking that they're going to get assassinated for something. But I feel like Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer were assassinated. Also, I want to say, and trigger warning, I think I said this in the last video. Apparently, they both had multiple wounds in addition to, again, trigger warning, both of them had their throats slit. The multiple wounds makes me wonder if they were being tortured before unalived. And, you know, to hack somebody apart like that, you have to be very strong, not just physically, but psychologically, to continue to go through the motions. It's so much more involved than, um, you know, using a weapon with ammunition where you're going to be like on the other side of the room. You have to be right there close up. And it's not to say that a family member couldn't do that to another family member. We all know that that's entirely possible. But it's a lot of physical exertion. Of course, if they were asleep, that would have made it more plausible for one person to do that to two people. But most people would wake up, I would think, and fight back. I mean, especially his dad. I don't know. I can't get that hitting story. He did that to that 12-year-old, saying he can do anything he wants. Yeah, Katie Johnson, that lawsuit that Katie Johnson made. So she said she was 13 when he assaulted her, both SA and assault and battery. And then she said that there was a 12-year-old, Maria, who was there also getting SA'd by Jeffrey and Biggly Piggly. The thing that kills me about all these freaks is, and I don't know how to say the word to make it YouTube friendly. It's sort of like oranges, but more like cheese. Those types of parties, where people get naked and have multiple partners. Like, that's just so insane. And that was like one of their favorite things to do, was to have all these teenagers and then the two of them. It's so effing gross. So gross. While taking her virginity, right. Thank you, Patricia, for reminding me that detail, right? And that thing that he said about, well, better for you that it's me than some like lame 14-year-old kid. It's like, no, it'd be much better if it was some lame 14-year-old kid that was by choice. I mean, that's a little too young, in my opinion, for kids to be doing that. But, better to be with somebody your own age or close to your own age rather than being the victim of statutory. That's what I was thinking. How could he do both without them fighting back? How gross. Yeah, yeah. And the preposterous mountains of evidence is what just makes me think there's too much evidence. It's makes it too easy. It's like too much of a slam dunk. I just can't. So yeah, all of these things to distract from the e-files, and the distractions from the e-files will continue. I mean, I've been expecting there to be mass distractions and lots of basically terrorist attacks from Bigly Piggly, whether that's with firearms or flying objects falling out of the sky, or other types of misfortune. I fully expect the pace to increase, the distractions to abound. Why doesn't he just pull his head out of his rear end and make it stop? But at the same time, I'm kind of glad that they're doing it so horribly, because it makes it delineates more clearly what's going on, rather than if they're watching their P's and Q's and being more careful. Oh, so what about Dr. Oz? What's his name? Mehmet? Is it Mehmet Oz? Talking, I think yesterday or the day before, about the cost of transgender operations on children, and then going into great detail about how they build the body parts and how much the body parts cost. Like, what the F was that? Like, that was really bizarre. Did you guys see that? That was truly bizarre. I'll try to find a link and put that in the description. Mehmet Oz. I think that's his name. Okay, I think that's all my notes, you guys, but we can still chat if you'd like. I think that's all my new notes. Only 2 pages. But that's because I've been so busy doing all the other stuff. But that's good that my pages are bigger, like I'm in a real notebook rather than those smaller notebooks. But where is my smaller notebook? Because I bet I have some stuff in there too. Let me see. Yes, I think I do. No, this is all stuff from my last video. Yeah, I think I'm good as far as notes go. I did not see that. He really went off the deep end. Yeah, he did really go off the deep end, Anna Bees. It was insanity. It was complete insanity. I don't know what he was, who he was addressing. Let me ask my phone. Um, Addressing trans. Oh, so it was like 2 days ago. So moving to ban the gender affirming care for young people. But who was he addressing? Mehmet Oz addressing trans youth to group 2 days ago. Because I don't think it was just a presser. I think it was like some kind of maybe it was just an announcement. Excuse me. But yeah, I think that's what it was. It was just an announcement. So
this cup is absolutely gorgeous.
And again, that was probably another distraction to go into great detail about teenagers' parts. I bet that was a contrived distraction. Yeah, I think it was an official announcement with Secretary RFK Jr. So isn't that so nuts? I don't think Patricia was here for the part about, were you, Patricia? The part about RFK Jr.'s wife, Cheryl Hines, being Rob Reiner's assistant for 30 years, personal assistant. What are the chances? What are the effing chances? And then the way Bigley Pigley is so hung up on Obama, and that they just happen to be having to cancel their event with the Obamas because they're laid out. Let's see. Of course, they announced that on a Friday before Christmas, hoping to bury the story. Well, I think it might have been a day before that, I think. I don't know. What does it say? Yeah, I think it was the day before the release of the files. And yeah, definitely trying to just any type of distraction. JP was indicted. JP Miller? Not for her red room, but for harassment and stalking her. Oh, good. And domestic violence. Well, that's something. That case, that case is so awful. And he was a huge MAGA freak. Ugh, gross. Yeah, JP Miller. That's exciting. Thanks for the good news. I did not know that. When did that happen? Let's see. Oh, just in the last couple of days, 3 days ago, indicted for the cyber stalking. Well, that's fantastic because I mean, he definitely like gang stalked her. He had a lot of people stalking her. And I think that that's what we saw in the surveillance footage when she was purchasing the firearm right before that happened. That whole thing was so sketchy. And yeah, it's hard to prove when you're out there in the freaking woods and in the water and in a state and a part of that state that is specifically known for the corrupt law enforcement. That whole thing was effing nuts. That was such a sad case. It still is such a sad case. We haven't talked about Kylie at all. You know, I was thinking about the cases that I don't believe any of the information presented, like none of it from the ground up. Because I'm feeling that way about this whole thing with Nick Reiner, and maybe I'm wrong. I want to leave the door open. Of course, I don't know what happened, but it doesn't sound right. And it also just sounds too much like an ace in the hole. Like it's just crazy. It sounds like a setup. Um, but I got to feeling that way with Idaho 4. Like the first time I got suspicious about the Idaho 4 was when the PCA was released. Sorry, I bit my tongue. I think that when the PCA was released, I think that's when they um, might have revealed that it took 4 hours for the lead detective to arrive. There was a lot of sketchy stuff in the PCA, but there were a couple of specific things in the PCA that made my radar go off, and I was like, no, this isn't right. Um, and then with that whole case, there was way too many like mountains of evidence that I just think that whole case is bullshit. But that's also the way I feel about pretty much everything with the Kylie Rodney case. Complete bullshit. Complete bullshit. I think Kylie was red roamed. I so agree, Patricia. And I think she was taken out by the kids. And Anna B's, remember that she had gone into the city hall just a couple of days before she disappeared. She'd been pulled over, and I don't know what she was pulled over for, maybe for being a hot 16-year-old blonde girl, driving while blonde. She was pulled over and she didn't have her proof of insurance. And so they wrote her a warning and said that as long as she came into the city hall and presented her car insurance within a few days, that they wouldn't ticket her or something. So she went into the city hall to present her proof of insurance, and then she disappears a couple of days later. And the whole thing about that, what I just said, is never really mentioned in her case. And why wouldn't they mention that? Why wouldn't they use surveillance footage from her going to City Hall to say, here's some footage of her just a couple days ago? It's not what she was wearing when she disappeared, or maybe it was what she was wearing when she disappeared. But the fact that they eliminated that out of the timeline, out of the story, makes me think that shady freaking law enforcement around there was completely involved. Like the sheriff Wayne Wu with his pedophile tendencies on record. And then his son being one of the 12,000 nicks that was at the party. And then, and also like the kind of the lack of connecting the timeline to all of those guys from, I think it was called the Alpine retreat that they did twice a year at the Lost Trail Lodge. That retreat, the summer one, was the weekend before she went missing. It's all very suspicious to me. And then, it's not too far from Bohemian Grove. We all talked about that quite a bit with that case. And then Bohemian Grove would just tap right into the whole like Epstein Island kind of crap, right? Patricia Moss thinks she was transported. Yeah. And Anna Bees doesn't think she was transported. I think she absolutely was transported, at least that night. Sort of like Natalie Holloway. I think Natalie Holloway might well have passed away that night. That she was basically abducted, rugged and abducted by Joran van der Sloot and the Kalpo brothers. She well could have passed away that night. And she also could well still be alive and being transported. Pacific City is in a second monsoon. What? I'm jumping in and out of service. Power is off. Oh, I know the flooding that you guys have had up there. I've seen it on the news in Washington State. It's unreal. Oh man, stay safe, girl. Sammy confessed to us pretty much. Yeah, I was the last one that pretty much knows what happened. Yeah. She loves the water. We were joined at the hip. Yeah. But that wasn't her remains, Anna Bees. I mean, you don't think that was her remains with all those weird measurements and everything, do you? And the lack of IDing her by DNA or family member or fingerprints. I mean, they could have done all of those. They could have done DNA, they could have done fingerprints, and they could have done family member, and they didn't do any of them. She delivered her to them so she could get the crown. Oh yeah, totally. So yeah, let's talk about that crap with that whole RA stuff. That type of abuse, that type of Titanic crap. I think that there's a lot of that with the elite. I mean, little E was into that stuff. It's really creepy. It's really effing creepy. So with Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer being Jewish, I think typically they're supposed to be like part of the Jewish religion, I think, is that they need to be like in the earth, buried within 24 hours of loss of life. It's really quick. I mean, let me double check that. Yeah, it is within 24 hours. And the body's never left alone. But I wonder with the Reiners, because of the case, I would think that they have waited.
But I keep wondering about that. I keep wondering if they're having the services, if they've already had them. They've just kept it really low key. How devastating, that poor family. And just all of the people that were around, just traumatized, terrorized, you know? I mean, again, I do think it's a terrorist attack against Democrats, comedians, California, total terrorist attack. And I think the same thing with the North Carolina plane crash. That thing, that fire, and to go down like that, for them to like take off and then turn around and then crash like that, it makes me think that there were obviously mechanical problems and that it probably wasn't random by accident. And then for Biggly Piggly to do his campaigning there in North Carolina the very next day. I mean, sure, that could be a coincidence. It just seems a little much to be a coincidence. And especially if he didn't address it, if he didn't say anything about it during his campaign speech. I don't know if he did or not. Sammy was the queen of the bullies, wasn't she? No, I did hear that about Cheryl. I'm truly shocked. Oh, you did? Uh-huh. And then also the thing about Michelle Obama and her husband having plans with them on the Sunday that they were found with their lives lost. I'll put it that way. It was Sammy and those four boys. Annabise, you are probably right. I mean, and especially the way you say it with such conviction, because I know you're very smart. But I think she was at least trafficked with those four boys, don't you? I mean, I hate to say that, and sorry I didn't say trigger warning, but yeah. It kind of makes me think of Meredith Kircher with Amanda Knox too. That, you know, Amanda Knox SA'd Meredith Kircher. And I wonder if Sammy did some of the essaying. Yes, Kylie was reported being seen at that weird apartment. Right, right. Read my above message. Oh, is there one that I'm missing, Annabise? Is there one? Can you text it to me and make sure that I read it? What did I miss? Oh, herself and walking around with her? No, okay, I see it. Oh, how did I miss that before? Sorry. That's crazy. It's a big message. And how come it's not allowing, it's like frozen. It's not allowing me to scroll. I don't like to think about this, but she was picked on all night. They hurt her. They beat her and raped her. They took pics of her after she was passed. I wouldn't put it past Sammy tying her to herself and walking around with her. OMG, Annabise. What a thought. Oh, what a thought. But yeah, it's weird. Okay, now it's letting me. Yeah. I'm glad you pointed that one out. I can't believe I missed that one. Like it was invisible. That is, I meant to highlight that big one, that big message, the one that I missed. So yeah, I'm curious what you guys think about the whole scalping thing with hair extensions. if you have an opinion on that you want to share before we wrap up. And again, thanks so much for being here. It is it's Sunday morning now, 12:35 a.m. And I still have some windows that I wanted to clean tonight and put some of that privacy film on. I got some really cool privacy film for the window that has like the where it refracts the light and makes it like rainbow. That stuff's expensive. I mean, I ended up buying it. Fortunately, I ended up buying it at Walmart where it was only $20, but I found some at Lowe's and I found some at Menards, and they both were like $40 just for a little bit of window film. And I only needed like a few inches, like that I was short from what I had forever that I never thought I'd use. And then I finally used it. But I just needed that little bit extra. So I had to buy like this whole thing. And the thing was that I had been at Walmart earlier buying like curtain rod stuff. And I didn't think to look for, I didn't know that I needed more film then. So then I went to like Menards because that's closest to where I live. Went to Menards and then Lowe's. And then I checked out Target and I checked out Home Goods. They didn't have it at either Target or Home Goods. And then I was like, fingers crossed that they had it at Walmart where I wouldn't have to drop $40 on it. Because even 20 was kind of like, you know. Her measurements, she was in the hot car for a long time. She got dried out. Everything shrunk. That's why no water in the body. Oh, and bees. Yeah, that makes sense the way you put it so succinctly. So many holes and cracks in the Idaho police accounts, a definite setup. Well, and what's so annoying with that case and what's so weird is all the freaking, again, mountains of evidence more that keep rolling out. Like, if the case is over and done with, why do they keep rolling all this shit out? Like hundreds of pictures of Koberger looking like a weirdo and just all kinds of stuff. I don't even know because I literally like look away. I don't look at any of that freaking Idaho stuff. I mean, part of me wonders, with cases like that it's a psyop. That it's and almost like a test pilot to see how much they can get away with in this day and age when everybody's got a camera in their cell phone, a videotape in their cell phone with them at all times, and that everything's getting recorded by surveillance cameras and drones. I mean, you can't do anything without there being some type of digital footprint for it. If you leave your phone at home to go commit your crimes, you've got that. You've got your phone left at home. And then a lot of cars have the same type of tracking systems. But then, people turning off their phones, or they're even crazier ones that just don't even think about their phones and just have it on their person when they go commit their crimes. It's just nuts. Oh, what did Kylie's license plate say again? Ate your soul? Wasn't it 8 YR 127 or something like that? Is that right? Ate your soul. That was bizarre. Oh, it was totally bizarre. Definitely a setup. Jules has pretty much proven that it all started around 2:50. Yeah, yeah, it was all done before 4 a.m. I mean, they said that it happened at around 3 at the very beginning. And that's what it was. Thank you, Annabise. You jogged my memory. That was the thing. That was the first thing that threw me with the PCA, that I was like, something is up with this, that everything started at 4 a.m. And that whole thing with the freaking DoorDash being delivered at around 4 a.m. And then all of these other things were like at exact 4 a.m. What were the other things that were exact 4 a.m.? Because the thing with the DoorDash is that would be exact. That your DoorDasher is going to take a picture of the food on the stoop and text you that they're there. They're going to totally have an electronic footprint of exactly the moment the DoorDash food was dropped off. But they tried to approximate with that, but then they were like exact with these other things. I can't remember what the other things were though. 8YUR127. I don't know why 127 means soul. I have no idea, but we could ask the Google why it means that. But yeah, thank goodness for Jules. Huh. Jules of all trades. She does a great, very thorough job. Why does 127 mean it's funny because I'm just typing why does 127 mean, and I haven't typed soul in yet, and it's like says mean death, mean before burial, mean in Hebrew, mean in the Bible, mean in NCT 127, mean in text, mean in love, mean in angel numbers, right? Because it's angel numbers, I think. But I don't know why. So what does AI say? The number 127 is linked to soul primarily through angel number interpretations and biblical themes, signifying a spiritual awakening, trusting intuition, manifesting your true purpose, and reliance on God for life's journey, rather than a direct singular meaning, with Psalm 127 emphasizing that human efforts fail without divine guidance. Spiritual awakening. Seeing 127 suggests you're on a path to self-discovery, ready to consciously create your soul's purpose. And then it's got like intuition and guidance, manifestation in the Bible, divine reliance, soul hack, like a life hack for the soul. In essence, 127 points towards a deep spiritual message about your soul's journey, the need for faith and inner wisdom to achieve your true potential. Yeah, that is so effing weird. Like, why would they have that on the license plate? And I don't think it would be random, because having a number and then 3 letters and then 3 numbers, like usually it's like first numbers and then letters, or first letters and then numbers, but to have them mixed like that makes me think it was a vanity plate. Why did they have to fake Kylie's optimism? She was truly deceased. Why would they fake it? Do you mean autopsy? My brain. You can hear it all going down starting at 2:50 till around 3:30, I think, from video from 11:22, I believe, and you hear the whole neighborhood very quiet. Well, Anna Bees and Patricia, do you guys remember when I think the content creator's name is Joseph Morris, and he played the audio from the neighbor's house, and then he got slammed, he got like blackballed. They were saying that he made that tape himself, and then like months and months later it turned out that he didn't. That was freaking insane. um it was obviously a fake autopsy. LOL, I don't know how to spell autopsy. It's with an A. Like, I see, when I was a kid, it looks like auto spy, but I have dyslexia, so it doesn't really look like auto spy. But I wanted to see this movie called Autopsy because I thought it was an auto spy. And I somehow talked my father into taking me and my sister to see Auto Spy. And I was like, when do they start spying from cars? It was just like this whole other thing. I was like, what the F, man? I don't think I realized, even probably until years later, that it was Autopsy, not Auto Spy. Because even if they were saying autopsy in the movie, I would have thought the same thing, that it was spelled like starting with an O, to cover up for the kids. Oh, okay. Anna Bees is answering your question, Patricia, to cover up for the kids. Because, yeah, like, remember it had like the part of her scalp that was like purple bruised, but they tried to say that there was nothing abnormal about anything. And then that hyperfixation on her private parts and how they were manicured, and how she had 16 forms of birth control in her person. This might be too MI, but too much information. But was she menstruating? Because I remember she had the white plastic IUD, but then was she like wearing feminine protection as well? Do you guys remember? And then she had like a thong over like whitey tighties. And they said a diva cup. Thank you, Anna B. So yeah, diva cup. That's right. I know, because I was thinking like a cervical cap or something. I have dyslexia as well. It seems though, whenever I spell something wrong, it is usually a vowel. Well, and the problem with trying to look things up electronically, like on my phone, is if I'm not getting the first few letters right, I'm never going to figure it out. Boxers over her thong. That is ridiculous. Come on. Well, yeah, it was almost like a chastity belt over the IUD and diva cup, right? And then trying to say that she wasn't essayed. Oh, do you guys remember the emails that were... I remember the one specific email that was... Sorry, I bit my tongue again. That was sent from one of the camp supervisors from Boca, from the camp next to Prosser. And so like the like a grounds person who like would stay there overnight. And I think they stayed there overnight. Maybe they just drove around and then went and slept at home. But I figured that they were on site because it was like where people would camp. And there was something about like slip number 9 or slip number 7 that they were talking about, that it was creeping them out, and then they quit. And it really sounded like there might have been crimes being committed in that particular campsite. Um, campsite at Boca. When what would you call a manager? When a manager supervisor let's see if AI knows what I'm talking about. I'm going to read what the AI overview says. You mean the photo? I'm not sure if that was real. Maybe it was one of the boys' boxers. That's an interesting thought. Oh, it was real Patricia and Sleepy. She was already passed and in rigor, which is why her arm is in the same position in both pics. Well, and that weird like sweatshirt bundled up around her neck. I think it was a psychic with a YouTube channel. I think it was Candace Starr who had visions of her sweatshirt being and trigger warning, her sweatshirt being shoved in her mouth as part of how her life was extinguished. Do you guys know that channel, Candace Starr? When I first started watching YouTube, she was one of the first channels that I would watch. Let's see. Her and Paula Plunder and What's the Obsession? Let's see. Yes, they said all the unnecessary stuff at Kylie's fake autopsy. I think it was accurate, Patricia, but the cause of passing was a lie. But the one thing, Anna Bees, is how everything was in perfect round numbers. And like I remember the brain weighed 1,000 grams. 1,000 exactly. That was ridiculous. Everything was like rounded off. Every number ended with a 0. There were no like 5s even. I thought they didn't really weigh things. They were just estimating or something. So this is what AI says. The query seems to mix details from the tragic 2022 disappearance of Kylie Rodney found in Prosser Creek Reservoir near a campground with unrelated rumors about a manager quitting over an email. Unrelated. There you go. And then also her granddad being in litigation over water rights with the federal authorities, I think. But Scammy's parents, her mom was the lawyer in this like 20 or 25-year litigation over the water rights. That was hugely significant to me. It's still, AI thinks it was an accidental drowning after a party. She disappeared after a party. That's funny that it says after a party, not at a party. That's some very deliberate wording that you would think that maybe the people that own Google were involved, and they were. Let's see. She disappeared after a party, and her car and body were found weeks later in the reservoir, with the coroner ruling it an accidental drowning. Well, if the coroner ruled it an accidental drowning, then accidental drowning it was. No signs of foul play. Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, I was just curious what number the campground so I went deeper. It's so funny. There's no verified public record of a campsite manager at Boca Reservoir sending an email to a supervisor specifically to quit. That's so funny. That's a big fat lie. While the case involved so that makes me think that that was a thing then, because there was an email. Okay. While the case involved extensive online speculation and theories on platforms like Reddit and Facebook, official investigations and major news reports focused on the following. Location of the party. Kylie was last seen at a graduation party of 200 to 300 teenagers near the Prosser family campground in Tahoe National Forest. And that's important because it was national forest property, and the Smiths had all of those federal grants. $24 billion. Was it 24 billion? All the grants that the Smiths had over the next 10 years that they had, that they were controlling. Was it that much? Official findings. Authorities eventually ruled her death. Okay. So, what was the name of their company? Sarah Private Investigators. Sarah in Truckee. What was the name of that company? I know it started with Sierra, the private investigator company. Oh, sorry, you guys, my brain is crashing. Maybe Sarah Investigations. Sarah Mountain Investigations. That might be it. Sarah Investigations. Sarah Tahoe Investigations. I think that's it. Sierra Tahoe Investigations. It's a company in Truckee, California, known for providing investigative services. They work with agencies like Social Security Administration and have federal identifiers. And that's funny. It doesn't want to say who they are. It doesn't want to mention. That's it, because it's Huntsman. Here it is. It's I remember the street now. Huntsman Leap. Sierra Tahoe Investigations. Okay. Sierra Tahoe Investigations. Sierra Tahoe. I just wanted to see if it says how many billions of dollars. Sierra Tahoe Investigations, management, of billions in federal contracts. Maybe it wasn't billions. Maybe it was millions. Maybe it was like 30 million. Yeah, probably more like 30 million. But that's a lot of money that they manage, man. That's what it all comes down to. Federal award analysis. So they're awarded $15.6 million, Scammy's parents, federal registrations and certifications. Like, why were they awarded so many freaking millions of dollars? I guess in California speak, that's not that much money. I don't know. But anyway, I'll set that down and sign off. See what you guys are saying. Oh, sorry, you guys. I watched Plunder for the Watts case. Yeah, I think I first got into Plunder with the Suzanne Morphew case. I wonder what's going on with that. That case is also super sad, like Micah Miller. Nothing about that was the truth. I really thought it was absolute a bunch of disgusting lies. Yeah, the whole thing with Kylie Rodney's case from the ground up lies. And same thing with Idaho 4. I remember Candace saying she was in the truck of a car alive for days on the third story of a parking garage. Wow, Patricia, that's cool that you were watching her channel too. That's awesome. That was a lie. There were maybe 10 people there. Right. We saw the photograph and the one photograph from the party when they had hundreds, right? And then it was like nobody would admit being there when everybody was there, allegedly, but nobody was there. She said they thought she was already deceased, but she wasn't. She suffered in the trunk until she passed away. Candace isn't always right. She is the real deal, though. Wow. That sounds pretty likely. That's really disgusting. And I just think she was hogtied in there. And I only think that because of that video that was released of the girl in the back of the SUV and she's like hogtied. and she looks a lot like Kylie, but they were just doing that like as a joke to like tease people, to taunt people, I think. Um, yes, Sierra Investigations, I think. Sierra Tahoe Investigations, yeah. I know she had to be in a hot car for several days. Saving Sarah. Oh, is that another channel? Saving Sarah? That sounds familiar. Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about another psychic. Um, yeah. I really like Rosie's insights lately. Um, and then one called Audrey Briggs. Those are the only two, like, quote unquote psychics that I watch these days. And yeah, maybe there's one other that I'm not remembering off the top of my head. But yeah, Rosie is more like insightful. She does do the tarot cards, but she's just a very well versed individual. She's got a breadth of knowledge about things just from her own life experience. Um, I'll have to check them out. Oh, Saving Sarah and Candace Starr, are they still doing stuff? Let's see. Let me look on YouTube. Saving Sarah. That sounds familiar. I think I've watched it, but not for a long time. Well, Saving with Sarah. Nothing's really coming up with that. And then Candace. Is it Candace with a K? Candace Star. It's with yeah, Candace Star. Oh man, she's gotten up to almost 200,000 subs. Good for her. And she has almost 3,000 videos. That's crazy. That is wild. But is she still making stuff? Yeah, 16 hours ago. 7 days ago. Huh. She is working on a case with somebody with the first name spelled YU and the last name MENGLONG. Midlon. Here's what really happened. Interesting. I have to check that out. All right, you guys. Oh, we're at 2 hours. Wow, how'd that happen? Sorry. Unless it's like good for you. It's been good for me. I hope it's been good for you. Let's see. Where are we at? No, Rosie's insights and Aubrey what? I forgot already. I think it's Briggs. But when you pull up her channel, let me look real quick. Audrey Briggs is Salty Psychic. That's what she calls herself, the Salty Psychic. And it's Audrey Raffalini, but it's at Audrey Briggs. And let's see if she's been doing stuff. Her son was really sick. She has a special needs child, and so she hasn't been able to make videos for the last 3 weeks. I hope her son's doing better. And I hope she gets back on her videos. She was doing some really good Erica Kirk videos. She was the one who informed me about Charlie Kirk's condominium off of Sarasota, Florida. I think it's called Longboat Island. And he bought the condo, I think, in 2019. I think it was like $1 million just for this like lame apartment in a sky rise on the beach. By my standards, lame apartment. I'm not into that kind of thing. But it's where Rumble, all the people that are part of Rumble and Rumble's headquarters are there. I don't know if Rumble's headquarters is actually on the island or if it's just nearby, but all of like Dan Bongino and Howard Lutnick and Peter Thiel and all those douchebags, I think they all have condos there. And Audrey believes that there was something in the condo that some thugs were trying to find. So I thought that was really fascinating. Yeah, Candace did say hogtied. Oh, I mean, that's really uncomfortable, especially, having your arms behind you. And they probably wouldn't have had them in front because then somebody can like use their hands to try to undo stuff. That's so effed up. That's terrible. So, all right, you guys, 2 hours. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, people. Have a really good Sunday when you wake up in the morning. Ooh, it's 1:11. It's like angel time. So we better sign off fast before it goes to 1:12. Good night, girls. It's been a good talk. Sleep well. It's been lovely. Thanks so much for hanging out, you guys. And see you next time. Sending you love. Take good care.